Hello, and welcome to the Homeowner Handbook's extraordinarily non-science episode about floorings. Floorings, yes, floorings. And as I have little to nothing to say about the building science of floors, I am hijacking this introduction. I mean, certainly there's science involved with how each product is made, but does any of that need to be discussed at length with you guys? I think not. Bah. Hey, what are you doing? I am protesting this episode by staging a hostile takeover of the introduction just to get a little bit of FaceTime here. Oh, come on. Surely there's something science-y about floorings. First of all, science-y. Second of all, hardwood, floors, carpets, tiles. I don't see how you could even stretch this into a full episode. What about radiant heating and flooring? Surely the viewers would love to hear something about that. Okay, I will grant you that. And I'll even give you the green corners so you can tell people about bamboo floorings and whatnot. Hey, I can still do it. No, I'm taking it. Green corner and radiant heat and floors. Got it. I better go get to work. Prima donna. I heard that. Hey, come on. Yes, we have chosen to start our flooring episode outside, mainly because actually we're closer to the history of flooring out here, both figuratively and literally. You see, dirt is the most basic of floor covering options because it is the floor. It's the default. But if you look at the history of mankind, dirt was the original options. Throw together some walls and just leave it as is. Of course, in the first world, we've moved beyond dirt for most structures, though there may still be barns and sheds, things of that sort, areas we don't live in, that still have just the original dirt floor option. The other thing you can say is that, well, with a dirt floor, you can change the decor anytime you want to. Maybe try to make your own pattern, or not. Historically, for slightly more padding, hay or straw has often been put on top of the dirt, or even household waste and animal dung, which is then trampled into the floor. As a related fact, mint first came into use during Europe in the 1500s to counteract all that lovely household waste and animal dung smell. In early US history, settlers would sometimes spread sand over the dirt, or peanut shells or sunflower seeds, the oil of which would help keep the dirt down, particularly handy in those Dust Bowl days. With the basest form of flooring now covered, I thought it would behoove us to really kind of separate our discussion into a few categories. The main categories when it comes to flooring options are tile floors, hardwood floors, and then carpets and rugs, with some other things added in as we go. But we've started the foundation, now it's time to start building up from there. Now let's go find some real floors. While dirt may be older, tile can really lay claim to being the first true floor covering. Starting with either Egypt, Sumeria, or Babylonia, take your favorite ancient civilization pick, stone construction is really the first true floor covering, at least a non-dirt or hay floor covering. Not to be content with just blank stones, the ancients soon began to find ways to make the floor look more aesthetically appealing by arranging the stones in different patterns. Eventually, the Greeks developed a smaller stone pattern, we call that mosaic. These mosaics were both artistic and functional. The Romans also did something unique with tile. While they continued the development of the mosaics, Roman engineers also found another use of stone flooring. They could use it for heating. What they would do is build a small basement with stone pillars supporting the stone floor above. A vent was created at one end of the basement, and a fire was started under the opposite end. The heat and smoke from the fire would then heat the stone floor above, which is essentially an ancient version of the radiant floor heating we use today, and the professor will mention more about later. Even tiles made out of ceramic were available to the Roman homeowner. However, that knowledge was lost among so much other knowledge when Romulus Augustus was deposed in 476 AD and the Roman Empire fell. To be fair, the Byzantine Empire kept alive the tradition of making tile. However, it's not exactly Western Europe now, is it? To find tile making common in Western Europe, you really have to fast forward to the 1840s when a man named Herbert Minton restarted the tile making industry. Tile today can be made out of a variety of materials such as ceramic, porcelain, terracotta, or concrete, or with real stones such as granite, travertine, sandstone, onyx, and marble. Because there is such a wide selection of tile sources, there is a wide variety in differences between them as well. While there are a lot of options as far as what the tile may be made out of, really the most important thing to know when it comes to maintenance is if it's a porous or non-porous material. If your floor is a porous material, it will absorb things it comes into contact with, such as liquids that somehow go from the counter to the floor. So unless you would like your nice new tile floor to get a new color or two, you'll of course want to seal it and make sure that it maintains that seal. While many tile options may be more expensive at the outset than covering the same area with carpet, ideally it may save you money in the long run by virtue of not having to replace the tile like you do with carpet. You do have to maintain somewhat with regular cleaning, but that's for someone else. So we're here at Mill Creek to talk a little bit more about wood flooring here with Kevin Cragen. Kevin, let's talk about wood flooring. What are the options for homeowners, or either what they might have now, or if they're looking to redo a floor, what might they be looking at?
Typically we have two types of wood flooring. We have a engineered wood, which is made up of layers of a plywood or a synthetic core that has different layers of it. And then we also have a solid wood, which is just that, it's a solid wood floor. Couple of the benefits for one versus the other. The engineered wood floor is a little more stable in the climate. We live in typically what they're considered an extreme climate, which can go from 110 down to 20 degrees. So expansion and contraction plays a part in that. Typically with an engineered wood floor, it's going to be more stable and it's going to stay together and not experience the gapping like we would in a typical solid wood floor. A solid wood floor is going to experience a lot more gapping in the shift of the climate.
Sure, is it probably being wood, I assume it does some expansion and contraction then as humidity and everything like that.
Absolutely, the weather plays a big role in it, and that's why there is a driving force for the engineered wood, because in the wintertime people do not like to experience the gapping.
That's surprising, right?
Yeah.
So they can make the engineered wood floor look like any of the other wood floors?
Oh, absolutely. The engineered wood actually has a real wood on the top of it, and then it has a core below it. Now, once again, about some of the downfalls of it is that you cannot refinish a engineered wood floor unlike you can refinish a solid wood floor.
Really?
Yes.
And so the real wood floors, though, that's probably what people would find in an older home, something built before, say, 1950, is probably going to have real wood.
Absolutely. Up until the 50s, carpet wasn't around. So we don't have any, in the older homes, anything 1950 and prior, everything was wood floors because carpet was non-existent at that time. The wood floor, we have a lot of people that will take their carpet up and discover new wood floors underneath there that have been covered for 50, 60 years. And a lot of times they'll go back and refinish those wood floors because of the low maintenance of a wood floor.
As far as maintenance goes, is there anything that a homeowner should know or do differently between the different types of hardwood floor, and well, really what should they be doing to keep it looking as great and new as long as possible?
As far as maintenance goes, no. The two floors are cared for exactly the same. The thing that you don't want to do is get out the mop bucket and actually saturate the floor. Water being wood's worst enemy,
sure.
They just don't get along. The manufacturers all recommend to get a microfiber or terry cloth head mop head and a spray cleaner. That way you're not oversaturating the floor.
That makes good sense.
Absolutely.
So let's talk for a second about laminate flooring. What is laminate flooring?
Laminate flooring is believe it or not, a plastic laminate, much like your countertop material, that's on your countertops, but they have developed a way to make it look just like a wood product. Oh. They have smooth, and they also have some scrape models of that as well, where it is looking like a wood floor. A laminate floor is actually a floating floor. It does not staple or glue to the subfloor. Oh. So usually the first bit you would find is if it sounds a little hollower than a regular wood floor. Oh, okay. Because it floats, it's not adhered to the floor, so it's going to have a little bit more hollow sound to it.
By virtue of floating, though, is that to allow it to work properly, I guess?
Well, the laminate floors require a pad underneath of it to dampen some of the sound. And that's the purpose for the pad. Not only that, but also gives you a vapor barrier as well from any emissions coming up from below. The laminate floor has a locking system where it locks to itself, so it does not require a fastener or any adhesive to put it to the floor.
Are there any warranty differences? What do the warranties look like for the different products?
Typically on a hardwood floor, you're going to get a minimum 20-year finish warranty and a lifetime structural warranty. What that means is that they're going to guarantee that the finish is going to stay on for that amount of years with normal wear and tear on it. Now, the structural warranty of it is going to go into the actual product itself as far as it not delaminating, coming apart, or anything like that. Most of the laminate companies offer a wear, stain, fade warranty. What that means is that you won't wear through the product, that anything you get on it will come off if you can eat it or drink it, and then also that the sun won't fade it out. So that's your wear, stain, fade warranty. Those can range anywhere from 20 years to lifetime, depending on your laminate floor.
Well, that's pretty impressive then. Pretty handy also for those of us with perhaps dogs with long claws too.
Absolutely. A laminate floor is typically a better choice for a dog with long claws because a dog does throw out his nails when he walks, and you put a wood floor in, and if you have a dog over about 75 pounds, you could see premature damage on that floor.
I know that one from experience, actually.
Absolutely.
Now, each one of our episodes, we do a little bit talking about the green aspects of certain types of products, whatever it is we're talking about. For this episode, we've certainly hit on bamboo, but is there anything else you would consider green when it comes to, say, wood flooring?
They have really defined not only the bamboo, but cork is coming on the forefront as well.
Really?
Cork is naturally antimicrobial, antibacterial, plus being we're not taking any trees down to get it,
sure,
we're able to produce it in many different colors now. And we can do planks or tiles with it. So it gives the homeowner definitely a lot of versatility in the look that they're after. It's built a lot like a laminate floor where it would use the actual cork on the top and then a core in the middle, whether it's MDF or some other type of material for the core, and then it would have a cork on the bottom. One of the beauties about a cork floor is that it is self-healing. Really? What I mean by that is that if you take your couch and set it on it,
sure,
and decide to rearrange your furniture and you have a divot in it or a dent, it will naturally spring back up. So it definitely helps.
That sounds pretty impressive, really.
Yep, not only that, but it also has sound dampening qualities too. We're seeing it coming on in a lot more theater rooms and stuff just because it helps buffer a lot of the resonance that's in the room.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense. All right, sounds good.
Great.
All right, thank you so much, Kevin.
Hey, you bet, pleasure.
Appreciate it.
You bet.
Well, this is different. Oh, hello. Professor Building Science here with the green corner. Although green is just a subjective marketing term, it really should be something like the environmentally conscientious corner, although there's not even a corner around here, is there? Nor is there a whiteboard. Anyway, bamboo flooring. One of the more recent trends when it comes to green floorings is bamboo flooring. Originally introduced in the United States in the early 1990s, its adoption in the marketplace was hampered by most people in the US being familiar with the thinner, flexible type of bamboo, as well as the universal resistance to change. The reality is that bamboo as a flooring has a hardness comparable to most hardwoods currently in use. In addition, its allure as an environmentally conscientious product stems from the fast-growing sustainability of the bamboo plant it comes from. So in its use and its origin, bamboo makes for a satisfying alternative to traditional hardwood floors. That's it? He has it so easy. Before we had wall-to-wall carpeting, we had on and off-the-wall rugs. Most ancient civilizations have rugs in one form or another, but two really stand out as far as quality and quantity of the rugs they produced. That'd be China and Persia. We start seeing carpeting as we know it once the Industrial Revolution starts getting underway. Originally, U.S. manufacturers trailed their British counterparts as far as the development as well as the speed and quality of carpet manufacturing. This manufacturing lag helped push that American ingenuity forward as the Americans then developed the power loom and the Axminster loom in 1841 and then 1876 respectively. These devices allowed for a virtually unlimited selection of colors as well as a greater variety in styles to be available at a much more economical price point. Yet we're still not at the market penetration that we would see once the 20th century really gets rolling. To the American family prior to the 1950s, wall-to-wall carpeting was an unheard of luxury. But the post-World War II boom led to the advent, really, of wall-to-wall carpeting as we know it. So I'm here with Dan Dawsey. Dan, how are we doing today?
Doing great.
Excellent.
Doing great.
Well, Dan, can you tell us a little bit about carpet? Let's start with what are the choices? What are the kinds of carpets are there?
Well, there's many choices actually, from Saxony velvet plush type carpets to very textured cable and Berber carpets and variations in between. Just a great number of variety.
Okay, for the most homeowners, which ones have you seen a preference for? Any kind of ones they like more than others?
Well, for formal areas, the Saxony carpets have been very popular for dining rooms and less trafficked areas. Very formal look and more of a velvet look. Then the textured look is more common in family rooms and throughout the house, bedrooms. And then we have our frisé carpets, which is a very textured carpet, and it's more of a casual look, a little more traffic friendly. And then we have Berbers, and those are looped carpets.
Okay, what is a looped carpet?
A looped carpet, actually, I can maybe explain a little bit how carpet's made. It's actually like a stitch. The needle goes through the backing and creates a loop and comes back through. And if we're doing a Berber or a looped carpet, it's left that way. And of course, there's many of them that are put together. If it's a textured carpet or a plush carpet, that loop is cut and it frays the carpet, and that's how you end up with the plush and the frisé look.
Is there any kind of warranty difference between different kinds of carpets, or is there some industry standards?
Well, you know, the warranties are kind of vague, really. There's been a trend to kind of oversell warranties in the carpet business. We've kind of looked at it and decided that we talk about the construction of a carpet, and we can kind of give you a better idea of how a carpet's going to wear. Talk about what the mills will warranty it for, and but it's all based on how the carpet is made, how well it's made, and the well-made carpets have better warranties. The lesser-made carpets have lesser warranties. So
as always, it's probably also one of those things where you get what you pay for type thing. So.
Correct.
So that's kind of everything above. That's the top layer. That's everything we see. But underneath it is the padding, which, as far as my 2 cents is, a lot of times can make or break how comfortable the room feels. What's the difference? What's it made of, and what are the differences there?
Pad is very important. I call it the shock absorber for your carpet. And like a shock absorber on a car, your pad absorbs the wear, the traffic, and it helps extend the life of the carpet. We're beginning to use memory foams in pad. Oh. We're beginning to add antimicrobial treatments which inhibit bacteria growth.
Really?
And that helps in the keeping your home clean and
sure.
well maintained.
Anything you can do, everything kind of helps. Let's talk about green. Is there anything the carpet industry has done to maybe improve or make themselves more environmentally friendly?
Well, there's several things. I guess the main thing is all the mills are looking to make themselves more energy efficient in their manufacturing processes. They are recycling the products that they use, like water and many other products that goes into the manufacturing. They're cutting down their energy use, and the other thrust would be toward recycling of carpet.
Really?
There's a movement to try to recycle the yarns. Actually, you can recycle yarns, and many of our carpets are made out of recycled pop bottles.
Really?
Yeah. So there's quite an emphasis to try to become more energy efficient.
Well, Dan, thanks so much for your time.
You're welcome, Jeff.
I appreciate it.
You bet.
While there is a science behind all of the products we have discussed today so far, radiant floor heating really deserves its own special time because it is adding another moving part to the way your house works. First off, what is it? Radiant floor heating is the delivery of heat to a room via radiation. Radiation, of course, is one of the ways heat transfers along with conduction and convection. There are three systems of radiant heating: air, electricity, and water. Air cannot hold a large amount of heat, so it is far and away the least efficient and least used system of the three. Electric radiant systems are most effective with a large thermal mass to operate through, like a large concrete slab floor. What this means then is that water-based or hydronic radiant heat systems are the most commonly used for homeowners. They use little electricity and can be heated from a wide variety of sources, including oil, gas, and wood-fired boilers, and even solar energy. You can even use a combination of the above to create the perfect hydronic system for you. All three systems can be installed in one of two ways: wet or dry. Wet installations use a large thermal mass, generally concrete slab, or a thin layer of concrete over a wooden subfloor. Dry installations have the installer installing the tubing between two layers of plywood or attaching it to the floor or subfloor. With this out of the way, now let's look a little bit more into the hydronic system and how it works. Essentially, it works by pumping heated water through tubing laid in a pattern underneath the floor. This tubing or cable is embedded in concrete because concrete slab has a high heat capacity but also has a slow thermal response time. Slow thermal response time means that it takes a while to get the floor up to the heat level you desire, which means you may want to go ahead and set it many hours before you're ready for it to need to be at that temperature. In a dry floor, the radiant system will need to operate at a higher temperature because air is being heated instead of the thermal mass. Also in this system, you'll want to use reflective insulation or radiant barrier underneath the tubing, which will direct the heat upward. On top of the radiant floor, you'll often find ceramic tile, as tile conducts heat well from the floor and adds thermal storage because of its high heat capacity. Common floor coverings like vinyl and wood and even carpet can be used, but they do diminish the utility of the radiant floor because they act as insulations, which in turn decreases the efficiency of the system. So how does one go about picking a contractor to do or redo, as the case may be, your flooring? Well, part of it is going to depend upon which flooring option you go with, but there are always some standard rules that we talk about on the show when it comes to choosing a contractor to work in your home. Referrals from friends and family members are a great place to start when looking for a flooring contractor. That way, you'll have some firsthand knowledge, really, of how good a quality job they can do. You also need to make sure, of course, that the company you work with is properly insured as per local regulations. There's always local and national trade associations you can find. Members of those groups are normally reputable companies to work with. And always make sure that you get a warranty on both the product itself and the installation job. Otherwise, you may have a great product that's just not installed right. A disreputable contractor will say, well, that's not covered. Some flooring options also have industry certifications that installers should have before they come in and work on that product. As for you do-it-yourselfers, as you probably know, flooring or some of the flooring choices are a pretty common do-it-yourself component, particularly the tile and laminate choices. Since there are no shortages of both programs or information on how to install those floors online, I'll skip the details of that for now. You can find that out on your own probably when you go and choose the material. However, I would give this advice. If you are doing the project yourself, make sure to allot enough time to get the work done and done properly. Otherwise, you may find yourself redoing that project you just finished a lot sooner than you'd like. Discussing radiant heat in the floor provides a pretty good segue to finish off our flooring discussions, talking about now concrete as a flooring option. And in a way, it also brings us back to where we started our flooring discussion, back to using whatever the foundation of the structure is as the flooring option itself. 3,000 years ago, that would have been dirt, maybe stone. Today, most construction uses concrete for the slab or the basement. And instead of using one of our previously discussed flooring options, many architects and homeowners are going with the concrete and then adding a stamp, etching, stain, and other ways of decorating that concrete to keep the aesthetic look together. With that, we will call it good on another episode of the Homeowner's Handbook. I'm your host, Jeff Boone, saying, hey, don't let all the flooring options floor you or some such nonsense. How about we give this a better conclusion? How about I'm Professor Building Science and saying, whenever you go to make improvements on your house, be sure to keep in mind how they work and how they work with the rest of your house, even when they don't seem so science-y like flooring. That was terrible. And I'm not that punny. This is why we keep you in the classroom. See you later.
The Homeowner's Handbook was made possible through North Star Comfort Services. For over 65 years, North Star has been helping make more comfortable and energy-efficient living environments for Kansans. For future show ideas or feedback about this episode, please feel free to contact the Homeowner's Handbook. Next week on the Homeowner's Handbook, we'll discuss air conditioning, air circulation, and all sorts of other fun ways of keeping your house cool. All reasonable efforts have been made to make the information in this program accurate and up to date. Any errors or omissions are unintended and may be addressed in future programs. No houses have been harmed in the making of this program.